recording you. We're having fun. We're killing Jews. We didn't, what do we...
You know what I was thinking about?
What?
Do you remember that night on my 21st birthday when we went to the city? We went to that bar that gave you 4 pints and 4 shots for $25.
Give me pints.
What?
Give me 3 shots for $30.
Oh yeah, it was 3 and 3 though, remember?
No.
Yeah.
No.
They gave you, because you got to pick the shots and pick the beers.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been angry if they gave me 6 drinks for $30. They gave me 3 drinks for $30.
I don't know.
I do.
I was
there.
Shit-faced though. It was
Okay, how about we think about for 2 seconds your memory versus my memory? Yeah. What'd you do yesterday?
Fuck. I went to an all-you-can-eat meat restaurant and drank a bottle of wine by myself. Fuck.
What?
You asked me what I did. I told you.
I was hoping it wouldn't be that depressing.
I was with people. I just drank the wine by myself. But anyway, on my birthday, I remember we were slamming drinks and some guy was playing with one of those giant Jenga towers. And I really had the urge to just fucking nosedive right into it. And I was being very persistent about it.
Yeah.
I remember you were getting frustrated.
The second we walked in, you were like, I want to fucking dive through
I want to
that.
just fucking 9/11 that fucking tower right there. And then you were like, dude, happy fucking birthday, man. Go for it. I don't know what to say.
I had to pay my tab first.
Yeah, because we were going to get thrown out. So I put my drink down. Eyed that fucking Jenga. It was like those big blocks. They were like the size of bricks. And I fucking sprinted as fast as I could. Dove over a table. And just fucking decimated this tower. But I dove like Superman. And I
Dolphin dive.
Yeah, but I had my arms out, but I didn't hit the tower with my arms. I hit it with my face. So I had a busted jaw for like 2 weeks.
Well, the tower was so tall, you kind of hit both.
Yeah. And then I remember we ran right out. And then you ran out and like shoulder checked some guy by accident. He was like, what the fuck's your problem?
No, you ran, you fucking slammed into him and he like spilled his drink. And then I ran past him and hit him again. And he was like, what the fuck? And then a friend who shan't be named ran through really slowly and just pushed him.
Yeah. And the guy just didn't even get mad anymore. Like the first hit, he was like, what the fuck? And the second one, he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And by the third hit, he was just like, come on. Come on.
Come on, man. Come on.
Oh, he came.
What
Come
a
on.
bother.
What a bother. And then we...
The worst day ever.
I think we went to some other bar and... I don't know.
That's when you stole the flag.
Yeah. I stole... They had a giant Irish flag.
We peed all over a halal cart.
Yeah, we pissed on a halal cart. I had to sit down and eat because I was so shot.
On the bug couch.
Yeah, someone threw out a couch. We're in the middle of Manhattan, by the way. And I just sat down on this couch. It had like ripped leather. There were maggots in it. And this halal cart was parked there. And we all just pissed right next to it.
Well, yeah, so we pissed like on the sidewalk.
It was in like a corner.
Yeah, it was like up against some walls. But what we didn't realize was that there was an incline.
Yeah.
So we all pissed on it and then watched our little river of pee just go into the gutter and
go right to the halal cart.
Flow right underneath this halal guy. And he was like, oh.
Yeah, and you saw like
what a bother.
Yeah, what a bother. Dude, that's like a corny line from like an 80s family sitcom. Dad,
but coming out of a halal man's mouth.
It's like, Dad.
Oh, bother.
Daddy, I crashed your Porsche into the side of the house. What a bother.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, who else but...
Somebody pissed all over my halal cart.
What a bother.
Oh.
I was
somebody spilled my drink, and then somebody else spilled my drink, and then a third man hurt me. Oh, what a bother.
I was playing Jenga and went to the bathroom and some drunk asshole dove into the tower. What a bother.
Wah, wah. That was the same bar that had that giraffe that would stare at you while you peed.
Next to a poster of Harriet Tubman. What was that place?
I don't know. I don't give free promotions.
It was right by Penn Station. I remember that. It was like around the corner.
Hit us up. You know who you are. Give us an ad. Give you a shout out.
Let me ask you one more question.
Yeah?
Do you feel like doing a podcast?
I do.
Let's do it.
Oh. I got a burp coming on. Oh, God. Dude, I was drinking last night. I was at my brother's girlfriend's birthday. And her older brother, like, pulled me into this room and was like, how's it going, man? And I was like, oh, that's great. Yeah, we were just talking, like, about our respective siblings. And then he just
Real quick, I forgot you had a brother. That face you just saw, I completely forgot you had a... Sorry, PJ.
What the fuck is it? And back to the memory conversation.
Anyway.
Who do you believe now when you hear stories? Yeah, he goes, hey, man, you can get out of here. And I was like, okay. But then as I stood up, my stomach, like, twisted really hard. And I just went, like, yeah, let me get right back to you on that one.
Yeah.
And I just walked down to the backyard, and I was like, let me not do this here. I didn't even drink. I had like 4 or 5 Heinekens at this point.
Oh, shit.
It was not alcohol. I don't know what happened. I just walked out into the street, and then I got a call.
This guy's fucking funny.
Get it? Because he can't hold his liquor?
I wish I was a lightweight. You know how cheap it is to be a lightweight?
Yeah, dude, it
Our
cost me like fucking...
Friend of the show, Jack Mangini.
Jackie boy.
That guy can drink 1 beer and be shit-faced.
He like cracks him open. He's like,
The smell.
the smell. He's like, pungent.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I'm fucked up.
My BACs.
He's a really annoying drunk, though. He gets very, like, laughy.
Only when
like,
he's drunk.
giggly.
You're always annoying.
Yeah, Jack, you suck.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Annoying Jew.
He's only half Jewish.
Well, he doesn't look it. He looks hundo percento.
The ghost of Spooky Park.
Yeah, Jack.
We're going to put a picture right under here of the Jew ghost of Spooky Park. That's our friend Jack.
Spooky Park's a real place.
It is.
It has a corn maze.
It does. We watched a movie today. It came out in 1998. It was written and directed by the Coen Brothers. And it's the Big Lebowski, one of my favorite movies.
Oh, God. Yeah, we're switching it up. We're doing a classic movie.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be some kind of weird episode special. I don't know. We're professionals, everybody.
Because either we did a classic or we watched Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't want to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, I say, we'll educate the youth.
Yeah.
We'll tell you guys, we'll show you some movies we do like.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen The Big Lebowski, it is fantastic.
It is my favorite comedy ever written.
Is it actually?
Absolutely.
Oh, it's just so good.
It's besides being a perfect comedy, I think it's a perfect movie.
Me too. I do.
Very few and far between.
As silly as it can be.
Oh, it's absolute lunacy.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
The whole story's ludicrous.
It goes out of its way, and it just keeps getting weirder and weirder as it goes on. So,
but let's. Do you want to do a plot summary with Keegan?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, everybody. Here's this week's plot summary with Keegan.
We need to make some kind of like animation,
or like some background music. Yeah. You ready?
Lucas, get on it.
This week's plot summary with Keegan. Is that Family Feud?
I don't know. I want you to stop.
All right, go for it, buddy.
All right, Big Lebowski is about one single man, the dude, Jeffrey Lebowski, who gets mistaken for a different Jeffrey Lebowski, millionaire, entrepreneur, Vietnam vet, or was it Korea?
Korea.
Wheelchair bound, Time Magazine People of the Year award winning man Lebowski. His wife, Bunny Lebowski, is in debt with some people, and they want their money back, and they mistake the dude for the Big Lebowski, and they beat the shit out of him and piss on his rug. So the whole movie is our friend the dude and his quest to get his rug back, because he's too cheap to just get a new one, get it cleaned, spray it with a hose. Can't do any of it. He's the dude.
It was about principle.
Power.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just his quest to get the rug back.
He gets wrapped up into a big crime laundering money scheme, and has to solve things like the dude can by not.
Yes.
Great movie.
Great movie.
I'm going to be vague on this one. I want you to watch it.
Yeah. So we'll start off by saying this was produced, written, directed, and edited by the Coen Brothers.
Yeah, I was trying to watch the opening credits this time. You know, it's only produced by one of them.
Oh, yeah, Ethan Coen. Yeah.
I don't know why. The other one was like, nah, I'm not right.
I think...
And we're back. Did we ever leave? Who
Nope.
knows?
So one thing I love about the Coen Brothers is for a big chunk of their movies, they kind of stick to a basic, not basic, but like a similar formula. Yet they create, like, their movies are more character based than plot based.
Mhm.
Like, you know, there's always like a ransom amount. I mean, you look at, like, there's The Big Lebowski, Fargo, No Country for Old Men, Raising Arizona, Burn After Reading. It's all centered around some form of ransom. Yet, if you watch all those 5 movies, they are entirely different because they're so good at writing interesting characters.
Oh, they're the masters of character.
Yeah, it's
it's
insane.
not only all the main characters, all the supporting characters. Something I was going to point out with this movie, but it's just the Coen Brothers in general, is their dialogue is so tuned into character. It's like, mwah. It's like anytime somebody's
perfect.
speaking, you can just you get all you need to know about their character.
I actually read the script of The Big Lebowski, and their dialogue sounds so natural, the way they cut each other off and interrupt and talk over each other. It is written
Yeah.
exactly like that.
Yeah,
Like
that doesn't come
you
about
walk
by
into a
accident.
movie expecting and then someone like cuts them off, and it's done word for fucking word.
It's a very natural way
Yeah.
of speaking, which is unusual for movies.
Yeah.
This movie's riddled with it. I do like how characters will trip over their words, and they'll be like, they'll start to say something and realize they shouldn't have said that, and they'll kind of like redirect mid-sentence. Like,
Yeah.
The dude's walking around the Big Lebowski's house, and he's looking at a picture, and he's like, so he's a cripple, and then like mid word, he's like, oh, he's a a handicap.
Yeah. Yeah, they do that a lot.
And it's so casual, like even me doing it is hammed up. Like it comes off very smoothly.
He's like, yeah, so he's a cripple, handicap,
handicap.
is he? It was, and they're so brilliant also in the sense where they work with Roger Deakins a lot. He's like an incredible cinematographer. Half of the jokes in this movie are done through cinematography.
Mm. Oh, if we're talking visual jokes, this movie's got it all.
Loaded with them. Even just the positions of the actors, like when that guy in the chair just kept like giggling, and the dude's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Just the framing alone of that shot made that hilarious.
There's this movie's pacing is really good, and I think it has something to do with um the way the Coen brothers kind of bounce from joke to joke.
Yeah.
They kind of have like a handful of not go to jokes, but like joke types that they kind of bounce from joke to joke, and you don't really pick up on it because it's like dialogue joke, visual joke, shot joke. It's like
Yeah.
they go from joke to joke, so the pace never stops. But since it's a different kind of joke every time, you're not even really noticing it's going on.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about this? So, fans of the show, all 30 of you, uh, you'll all know my distaste for narration. You'll be surprised to hear that this movie features it heavily.
I
And
wouldn't say heavily.
it happens 3 times. I count the middle one.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about the narration? Why does the narration work in this movie where it doesn't work in other movies?
I think it works in this movie because this. First off, I want to say The Big Lebowski is one of those movies where when you get to know the characters and you watch it, each time you watch it, it gets more and more fucking hilarious because you get so familiar with the characters that it just everything that happens just becomes more funny because now you're like, oh, of course that would happen to him.
It's kind of like having friends.
Yeah, and
it's like you see a stranger out in the street do something fucking stupid, and you're like, that guy's a fucking idiot. But you see a friend do something funny, you're like, that's Bob.
yeah,
Bob's always up to that crazy
He-
shit.
He's crazy. But the movie, as good as it is, it's ridiculous. And I think that the Coens were self-aware with that. And I think that that's why the narration worked because they're like, we're not serious. We're not seriously like, all right, so we're going to open up with narration and make sure that we're telling this properly. Like, even the narrator is like, look at me. I'm starting to ramble.
Who's
That's
Sam Elliott?
Yeah,
by the
Sam.
way.
Everyone knows Sam Elliott. He's like, now the dude here was.
I think-
Sometimes there's a man.
I think it's funny how out of place it was.
Yeah.
It's Sam Elliott as a cowboy narrating a movie about a stoner in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
getting wrapped up into like a crime syndicate. Like
Yeah, and I think the funniest thing is during that narration opening, we're just kind of following a tumbleweed
Mhm.
in like the desert, and it comes and it like stumbles into L.A. and then it stumbles in the streets, and then it finds its way to the ocean. The tumbleweed is the dude. It's just perfect symbolism right there because as you're watching the movie, the dude is just like in the middle of nowhere in the supermarket. And, like,
aimless.
and then, at the midpoint in the movie, he's running around the streets of LA after he gets like drugged. And then at the end of the movie, he does wind up on the beach. So he takes that same pattern as the tumbleweed
Yeah,
and he bumbles his way through the entire film.
he's a very passive protagonist. Like he never really makes things happen. Other characters are kind of forcing him into different scenarios.
That was like one of my first notes here because, I got my notes right here.
Yeah.
I literally said great intro and in parentheses, not main character energy. Because like when you first meet your protagonist or antagonist, usually there's some kind of it's not always like a big intro, but we literally open up to this guy in a bathrobe putzing around a Ralph's supermarket looking for half and half.
Well, your first impression of a character is important.
Yeah.
And his is so low energy and so calm and like
Plus that like music they had behind him, you're just like almost falling asleep.
yeah, he's very not boring. He's lazy.
He's
He's
just
very
a dude.
he's very calm and stoner like.
Yeah.
So to have an intro where he's just kind of buying milk.
And not like stoners now of people who rip like wax pens. Like this guy fucking rolled his own joints. It takes place in the early 90s. He's like, what, in his 40s? He's got like the long hair.
I can never really
goatee.
pinpoint how old the dude is supposed to be, but how old Jeff Bridges was like in his 40s when they filmed it.
He did such a great fucking job with this. And I think that he was perfectly casted because he doesn't play funny. Like, I feel like if you got like a comedic actor, like, I mean, Jim Carrey, he plays funny. He's wild. He's out of his mind. It works. I love Jim Carrey. But like to get like a more serious actor to take on this role, I think was such a smart choice. And he goes through this movie just not trying to be funny. He's just confused. Like, I feel like Jeff Bridges saw this movie for the first time and was like, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I don't but he fucking aced it.
Well, while some characters are funny on purpose, it's more funny to watch stuff happen to the dude.
Yeah.
But that's a testament to their character writing. They know that the dude's not funny himself. The dude is funny because of the way he is. So, like, somebody like Jim Carrey, their character's being funny on purpose.
Alrighty then.
Where the dude isn't a funny person. Like, he's a lazy stoner. He's not going around making jokes.
Yeah.
So it's funny to see things happen to him. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only one who gets it worse than Lebowski in this movie is his fucking car. Like, what I love about this movie is that it's continuously one step forward, two steps back for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, something good will finally happen to him, and the next scene it will just like backtrack. Like, there's a scene where his car gets stolen. He finally finds the car, and in the next scene he like crashes it into a dumpster. So it's like every good thing that happens, there's a bad thing.
Sometimes it's like one good thing and four bad things. Like,
Yeah.
Like, he finally gets laid, and then a PI, they start beating the shit out of each other in the street.
Yeah. Like, yeah, he finally gets laid. She's like, I want a baby. He's like, no.
No.
He's like, let me tell you something about the dude. You know, I don't, you know.
Coitus?
I think that.
Yeah, coitus.
Yeah,
Man.
coitus. I do think that Coen Brothers are like some of the most genius filmmakers ever. What I love is that you really get the dynamic of the three main characters. It's Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, and Steve Buscemi. And I'm completely buying their friendship, but halfway into this movie, I was like, how are these guys friends? Like, because it doesn't explain it, which is fine. I don't need a backstory of how they met. But they're all so different that it's like, how the fuck do these guys hang out every day?
Yeah, Walter's like an uptight Vietnam vet.
Who lives for conflict. Every scene he's in, he's revving up the conflict.
Instigating it most of the time.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's a huge instigator, whether it's like a minor conversation where like the dude's yelling at him, you're waving a fucking gun around in the bowling alley. Yeah, he's like, you're waving a fucking gun around in the bowling alley. He's like, I'm calmer than you are. He's like, oh yeah, waving the fucking gun around? Calmer than you are. Like, he's getting under his skin. Like, that's what he does. And he does that the whole fucking movie. Every scene he's in, there's a problem. And it's fucking hilarious.
Nobody give a shit about the rules anymore.
Yeah, some guy's foot went over the line when they were bowling. He goes, over the line.
Market zero.
He pulls out a pistol and goes, has the world gone crazy? Am I the only one who gives a shit about the rules?
You're about to enter a world of pain.
And it's like, you're holding a fucking gun to a guy's head in a bowling alley. And you're like, has the world gone crazy? Do I only care about the rules? It's like, you're the whack job, man. But he doesn't
roll
see that.
on Shabbos. Shomer Shabbos. Shomer Shabbos.
And I also do think that what the Coen Brothers do so well is the characters so well right away. Like just the opening conversations of meeting these characters, you're like, all right, I got him down, I got him down, I got him down. When they're preparing the intro of The Real Lebowski and Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is walking the dude through all the achievements, it's like, it was like a 30-second scene, but you know what this dude's about before we even see him. And it's like, you get such a feel for the characters like right off the bat, and it speeds up the story.
Yeah, well,
to fit in for more, good shit.
The Coen Brothers have like a spooky attention to detail.
Yeah,
they are like, they have to be Nazis about their films, because it is so, every little thing is important. Like, we're watching Philip Seymour Hoffman describing the Big Lebowski, and then as he rolls in, the door flies open. He rolls through in a wheelchair, and he's holding a little tiny remote that opens the doors in his house, and that tells you so much without, like, more than you could think. Like to like the common man, it's just like, all right, whatever. He has a fucking remote. But like as a writer, I can be like, okay, that describes so much about this character. Like he's so filthy rich. All of his doors are mechanized. He has a remote because he doesn't feel like opening his own doors. he like it. There's just so much there off of one little remote that they just gave him, and like that's wild. That is a wild thing.
Well, there's a scene. There's a one of my favorite scenes in this movie is it's a dream sequence where the dude gets drugged, and he's like dressed up as like a contractor or something, or like a construction worker.
I think it was a plumber.
Yeah, plumber.
Because of the porno.
Yeah, and he's you got to watch this fucking movie. And he's like marching down these like steps, and there's like lights on each sides of the steps. And the music that's playing, there's a scene where the music goes like dun 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 dun, and the lights on each steps match that tune. The lights go and like everything's synced up, and I never noticed that until I just watched it just now. And I'm like, holy shit! Like and that's why their scenes flow so well all the time, because again, they're like crazy about all the minor attention to detail that you don't realize. But it's almost like in your subconscious where it's like, this is all, it's flowing so smooth.
Yeah, there's a lot in good movies that is happening, and the point of it happening is that you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's a big testament to a filmmaker, because you have to do things that people aren't going to notice to elevate your movie into the next level.
Yeah. Something that I think is pretty funny, might be a spoiler, might not be. This whole movie, I don't want to say it's centered around bowling, but bowling is a huge aspect of this movie.
90% of the movie takes place in the bowling alley, or has something to do with them trying to get back to bowling.
Yet you never see the dude roll once. You never see him roll a bowling ball. Not one time.
Well, I thought, I wrote down, but having bowling as a backdrop to the movie is like so in tune with what this movie is about. Like it is the perfect weird setting for this weird little movie, because it's so important to the story for no reason, and it's like it's just bowling.
Yeah, and it goes in tune with everything else. Like when you're at a bowling alley, it's like, I can't even explain it, but it's just...
You know what I wrote down? It's oddly beautiful in a way.
Yeah.
How absolutely absurd it is that bowling is so prevalent throughout the whole movie. It's like this... It's the perfect, like, stand. Like, this movie's sitting on, like, a podium made of bowling. And it's so simple that it's in a way fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene where the dude finally gets a chance to lay down and rest, and he's laying on his new carpet with headphones in, a Walkman, and a tape of just bowling noises.
Yeah, and he's got a big fat smile on his face.
He's laying there, and you just hear the of the pins, and it's just so unbelievably stupid that it's genius.
But, I think about this a lot. As much as I love this fucking movie, I could never imagine myself being able to write something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they hang out in the bowling alley. How can I make this fun? Like, how can I make it as interesting as they made it? Like, again, I'm not the fucking Coen Brothers, but...
You're not?
I
Get
wish.
the fuck out.
But they do such a good job. I mean, they're like... I think personally, that they lost their touch a little bit. Because
I haven't seen a Coen's Brothers movie. Well, they stopped working together, didn't they?
Yeah, they kind of. Yeah, you know what? I want to maybe retract that statement because I didn't see it, but I think Joel Cohen just he came out with that Macbeth movie with Denzel, and I wanted to see that. I heard amazing things about it, but from like after True Grit, it was in like the 2010s. They came out with some movies, and I wasn't really a fan.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just me just being like picky or whatever, but I think from their first movie, Blood Simple was phenomenal. And they had a great run of like that Raising Arizona, Fargo, Lebowski, Miller's Crossing, fucking again, No Country for Old Men, which I loved.
What time do you go to bed?
I loved the first half of No Country for Old Men, but I wasn't crazy with
It's-
the way it ended.
It's so long,
Yeah.
and it's
We appreciate long movies, but calm down. I don't
not
need
even
everyone-
long in like a time stamp.
because it was so
It was slow.
The way that everyone moves, it was just like, the guy Anton Chigurh's like, I'm looking for Llewellyn Moss, and just a lady, the desk clerk, he ain't here. What time does he get back? I can't tell you that. And you're like, uh-huh.
I'm gonna fucking
I
kill
get
someone.
it. It's in the middle of nowhere in Texas,
I
but
think-
holy shit, can we?
I think that's because we're New Yorkers.
Yeah, yeah,
And we're in rush mode by default.
yeah. It's like, come on.
It's like whenever I drive in any other state, I'm like, would you people get the fuck out of the way?
Oh God, you ever drive in Florida?
I avoided it.
Holy
The few times
shit.
I've been in Florida, I go somebody else drive because I'm gonna kill someone. Flipped out.
Yeah. But yeah,
I mean,
no, I really do.
I occasionally go up to Maine, and driving up there makes me want to put a fucking gun in my mouth. I will say, shout out to you Maine folk. You do know how to get the fuck out of the way. I got to give you that one. The second they see my shitty little Volkswagen Jetta in their rearview mirror, they fucking get out of the way.
Yeah, I've never driven to Maine, but I have gone to Canada.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, I don't know why I said I. I think you've came there with me every time, I think.
I missed the second time. 'cause
Oh, the second time was just me and cousin Joe.
my passport expired.
Yeah, you're like, can't go.
Can't go. Huh?
But you came with us the third time, and we got pulled over by like a state trooper. You were going what, like 110?
Oh, not that fast. Like 90. I was speeding. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
And you were just like, we smooth talked our way out of it.
Well, luckily, it was my mother's car, and her car is covered in cop stickers, which usually doesn't work for state troopers. But he was like, "Who's the cop?" I was like, "My mom."
He goes, yeah, tell your mother I said hey.
He's all right. Slow down. Like, okay.
Well, he looked younger than us.
yeah.
He was like,
The young guy.
fine. I'm just wearing this for Halloween.
How about trying to get back into the country? Hung over as absolute ball sack, and the checkpoint lady was like
Oh, that was bad.
interrogating me, and I was so hungover, my
Like,
brain.
what's your name? You're like, March
Ugh.
3rd. Oh,
I turned into you for a few seconds.
yeah. Okay. You know what? So yeah,
She
that
asked us,
moment,
and then she. Well, no, yeah, go.
I was just saying, yeah, how you felt in that moment. That's how I feel every day of my fucking
Constantly.
life.
Well, it's because you're hungover constantly.
I have some marinara sauce on my shirt.
You fucking disgusting pig. Yeah, she was like grilling me with questions, and my brain was just incapable of keeping up because of the amount of alcohol running through my veins. It's still, and I was just like, and then she just stops, stares at me, and goes, "Are you high?" I was like, "No, just stupid."
Just dumb.
Are you smuggling drugs into the country? I was like, "No, I don't think so."
No, not
No.
me. Me? My mom's a cop.
You know what tripped me up is she asked me, she said something. She asked me if we were coming or going, and it stopped me in my tracks. I went, both?
Yeah.
We're leaving one country to go into the next.
Yeah.
So yes, we are
No,
going.
we're just gonna keep circling around the
No,
fucking
we're gonna
checkpoint.
Yeah, we're gonna enter a space-time wormhole.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm only coming, but I'm not leaving Canada.
I get.
Wow. All
The
right.
fuck was that?
Calm yourself.
I get those trips like they're all balled into one. I remember one Halloween, we already told this, but I went as Jack Sparrow.
That was the first one.
Yeah, the next year I was with Joe. I went as Indiana Jones, but I had lost the bullwhip. So like
Probably for the better.
but I was at this club and like everyone there was like, "What are you, like the guy from Brokeback Mountain?" I was like, "No, I'm Indiana Jones."
Am I that gay?
Yeah. I'm Indiana Jones. No, but I kept having to say it like all these girls, they were like,
What the fuck? No, I'm not Brokeback Mountain. I'm just making out with a dude.
yeah.
Get over here.
But no,
suck
and
your
then
dick.
but everyone was saying that and I was like, "No, I'm Indiana Jones." And every single person went, "Where's the whip?" I was like, I lost it. And everyone just thought I was a gay cowboy, which I think by the end of the night, someone asked me, like, "What are you supposed to be?" I was like, "I'm a fucking gay cowboy." You want to make out or what, guy?
That's not the gayest thing you ever did in Canada, though.
Shh. We don't talk about Rudy.
Was that his name? Remember the guy with the apple
Oh,
bikini?
shit. I thought you were just making a joke. Yeah, no. Stop.
No, why not?
Fucking fruit salad, man.
Fruit salad. Charlie ate a man. He ate a man's ass.
No, I didn't.
No, he ate an apple that a man was wearing as a bikini top.
Fuck.
Oh shit. We lost you.
Let me know when.
And we're back.
Little technical difficulties.
Huh?
All right, well, Keegan. Fuck. I really did forget about this for years. Keegan brought up fruit salad. So we were in Canada. Our friend Jack, the Jew ghost of Spooky Park, took us to a party. And it was in some apartment, a big place. And I was
It was like a block party. It was two different apartments both
and
having
we kept
simultaneous.
hopping back and forth.
At some point, I was in one apartment, you were in the other. We were looking for each other, and we were doing the Looney Tunes thing where I'd run to one apartment and you'd run to the back to the other one, and we kept passing each other in the street like an episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Just right past each other, like,
But
who the fuck is this guy?
but what happened was I went up to Jack. I'm like, "Yo, who's hosting this fucking party?" He's like, "Oh, my friend," and it was some Asian chick. And I was like, "Hey," I was like, "I'm wasted. I don't know my way around here." I was like, "You got any food or something? I'm starving." She goes,
When Charlie drinks, he becomes ravenous. Absolutely disgusting amounts of food go into his body when he drinks. And he's like a fucking werewolf. He's like, I need food.
I get hungry.
You get like castaway levels of hungry. Well said.
So I was like, "You got any food?" She goes, "Hold on." So this girl pulls out a jug of orange juice from the fridge. I said, "The fuck is that?" She's like, "This is all I have." I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I'm like watching everyone play beer pong, and my back's to the wall, and I'm just like dying. And then I see this gay guy, and he was wearing.
I don't think he was gay.
Are you fucking kidding me? He was wearing.
He wasn't like getting butt fucked in the middle of the party. I don't know. Why are you
He
acting
was-
like? Yeah, he was what?
Did you hear my conversation with him?
No.
Okay, well here I go. This guy walks in. No, he didn't walk in. He's been there for a while. He was wearing like a thong or some kind of G-string with like half a pineapple over his cock. And then he had
a tiki skirt.
Oh, is that what it was?
The straw, like Hawaiian skirt.
something. And then he had a bikini top made out of two halves of an apple. And he had like he had glitter on him. There was glitter. I remember there was glitter. And I remember
Just got out of shift at the Pineapple Club.
Yeah.
I dance over there for tips.
So I was fucking starving.
So I was fucking him.
So I fucked him up the ass. No, so I go up to him. I go, "Hey, buddy, what's up?" He's like, "Nothing." I'm like, here. I said, "Here's what's gonna go down. I'm fucking starving. and there's no food here. And you got fruit. He goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I said, so here's what's going to happen. You're not going to move. I'm going to lean in and I'm going to take a bite. He goes, which side? I'm like, the left. He goes, my left? I said, my left. Just don't fucking move. So I don't know why I didn't just grab it off him. I was just drunk and not think. Maybe I was horny. I was just like, don't move. So I lean in and I go to take a bite of this apple and someone bumped into me and my mouth, and he was sweating. It was hot in this apartment. There was like 100 people in it. And I just went, oh, my mouth just slipped right on his chest. It was just wet, but I managed to get some of the apple and it was fucking disgusting. So I went up to you and I said, hey, and I think you saw. I'm like,
do you want me to tell my perspective of the story?
Yeah,
because
sure.
it was much different. I didn't know you had a conversation with the guy. I was the apartment was at the top of these really long and really oddly angled stairs.
Yeah.
And so it was like climbing Mount Everest. I finally make it up these fucking stairs. I'm like on the verge of barfing. Not because I was drunk, but because I was drinking Bailey's straight out of the bottle.
He's a diabetic. He shouldn't be doing that.
And I crawl up these steps. I get to the top, and all I see is like, it was like in slow motion. I just see your open mouth, just like you were like mesmerized. You were like, you saw the apple, and you're like, I'm going in, and you just took a giant bite, like you're like,
I was like a dinosaur. I was like,
yeah, like a lion just ripping off the meat of a carcass.
Well, I had to. It was like glued to like a bikini top thing. It was like
it was glued to him.
It was glued to his
sweaty chest hair.
So that only made me more hungry.
That only made me more horny.
So I got a boner and I walk out of the apartment. And then we found that little Asian dude running that food cart who I ran into 2 years in a row. He was outside just on the sidewalk, like fucking with like noodles. And I pulled out like a shitload of money. I'm like, you got food? And he was like, yeah. I was like, give me food. And I just threw. That's like becoming a habit of mine where I'll just throw X amount of dollars at someone when I'm drunk. I'm like, food.
And I also want to point out how stupid the question was, because that's all he had.
Was
like,
food.
He was standing in front of a dark Chinese foods like restaurant with a cart and a single lamp over him.
Yeah.
And it was just 3 trays of food, and you went, give me that. Yeah. And he just scooped it all into a to-go container.
The next year when I went back, I don't know if you were there that time.
No.
I ran into him again and I was like, remember me? And he goes, huh? And then I was like, hey, food. And I threw money at him and he goes, oh. And I was like, dude, you gotta let me take a picture with you. He's like, no. And I just fucking did it anyway. I was like, get over here, you little Chinese fucker.
What are you gonna do, stop me?
Yeah, right? I was like, give me a...
There's also Paish, the sandwich king of Canada.
Who?
Remember Paish?
Oh, when you went to a Tim Hortons?
No, the Subway.
Oh, ew. This motherfucker ate like cold clam chowder from Subway.
It wasn't cold, dipshit.
It's disgusting.
They heat it up.
You ate soup from Subway. I can't imagine doing that.
It's the same ingredients as the sandwich you ate. What the fuck are you talking about?
It just looked gross.
What do you think? They make it in the toilet?
They might.
Not Paish, man. He's the sandwich king of North America.
Paish did very good at making soup.
He also made sandwiches. That's why
and
he's the
he
sandwich
made
king.
sandwiches. He was Paish, knew
And
what to do.
There was that weird cult in the bar.
Oh, God. Dude, Canada's fucked up.
Well, it is when we go there.
Yeah.
Anyway, the movie.
Yeah,
What were we saying? I was worried that we were going to go way over time talking about this movie, and we just spent like 10 minutes talking about our drunken stupors through a different country.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah?
What about the movie did you not like? Were there any aspects of this where you were just like, I could do without this?
Not really. I think the dream sequences kind of drag a little.
Yeah, there's like 3 of those.
Yeah, and they it's a really abrupt pause of the plot and the like general pace.
Yeah, you kind of lose your momentum because you're like, I know none of this is
Yeah,
real.
it
Like,
it
take me back.
it just plot wise, I think, because there's a lot of good jokes in them. There's a lot of good callbacks, and by the way, this movie's the king of callbacks.
Oh
I
yeah.
want to touch on that in a little bit, but they just drag. They just go on for a little too long, and they're kind of weirdly paced compared to the rest of the movie. And
Yeah.
it's not like there wasn't anything fun or interesting going on in them. It's just like it doesn't help that I've seen it like 30 times. Like the first
Yeah.
time you're watching it, you don't know how long it's gonna last. It's fine.
Yeah.
But when you've seen it a couple times and you know exactly how much longer you have to watch Saddam Hussein clean
Yeah.
bowling shoes.
I think production wise it was done very well, but yeah, I mean I could
Yeah, I couldn't imagine the movie without them.
yeah.
And it's really funny like how they happen. Like one of them happens when he's laying on the carpet listening to bowling noises. Maud Lebowski breaks into his house and one of her goons just knocks him clean out.
Yeah.
And he's like hallucinating, like banging her while they steal the carpet from underneath him.
Again.
And then he wakes up the next morning. He hasn't moved an inch, but the carpet's just gone.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh man."
Oh man. But and the other one was like a drug-induced
Yeah.
hallucination. Yeah, they weren't like poorly done or anything. It's just
That was my
Jesus
phone.
Christ. Like I said, watching the movie as many times as I have, you're just kind of like,
Yeah.
all right, can we get back to it?
Yeah, it's like, come on. But I think that the Coen brothers, I think they're probably, I know this is like, we get hard for this stuff, but I think the Coen brothers probably do the best job at infusing all different comedy styles into one, also with like keeping the plot going forward, and like they're never really, it's rare that they will break from the plot to make jokes.
Yeah, well,
They did it in this movie.
There's not.
I
I don't think that there's too many jokes happening. Like there's very few times where it's like this is a setup punchline joke. It's more so like just how the characters interact with the world.
That's funny.
That's where the comedy comes from, and I think that's just we love this movie so much because that's just like our favorite kind of comedy where it's like it's not initially like a haha that's a funny thing. It's like you have to think about it for a second and then you're like that's stupid and hilarious. Yeah, the very few times is it like the humor comes from how the characters interact with each other, especially considering how different they all are from one another.
Yeah.
And how they interact with like the world and the plot that's happening.
Yeah.
Like they point out that the dude is only involved in this because he's a bum.
Yeah.
and they wanted him to be like a fall guy.
And they made that abundantly clear, and then he proved his own point.
Yeah.
He's like, you made me take the fall because you know that, I'm just some broke bum. And then the rich guy's like,
Aren't
yeah,
you?
well, aren't you? He goes, well, yeah, but...
Or I love the two Lebowskis. I love their contrast, just how absolutely different they are. Like the Big Lebowski's sitting in front of a fire with like orchestra music playing, and he's crying that his wife got kidnapped, and the dude's just sitting there. He's like, "You mind if I do a J?" And he just puts a blunt in his whole blunt in his mouth, just like goes to light it. He's like, "It's a fucking bummer, man."
It's a
And
bummer.
he's like,
It's
"What
a
is?"
bummer, man.
He's like, "What does it mean to be a man, Mr. Lebowski?" He's like,
Is it doing the right thing?
"That and a pair of testes," and he's like lighting a joint.
Yeah, he's like, it's a fucking bummer. It's a bummer.
The bums lost, Lebowski. The bums always lose.
And what I love also is that in Coen Brothers movies, there are like never two characters that are the same.
Yeah.
And a big thing in writing is like if you for like 80% of it, if you have two characters with like, similar motives and similar mindsets, then you really only need one character.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
unless they each bring something.
Yeah,
They,
but
they have,
most of the
something
time
has to be unique.
there's no point at having these two characters that share the same goals, kind of just nodding each other through the movie. You could really do it with one.
Yeah,
But
well, we've said obviously before, but just like in general with writing, that conflict drives movies.
yeah,
That goes for
100%.
that goes for characters too, even characters that are kind of on the same side. Uh, some One of the best character relationships you can have is a character foil, where two characters are completely different, and a lot of their conflict and a lot of what makes them interesting is how that affects their interactions.
Yeah.
This movie is just absolutely riddled with it. It's soaked into the DNA of this movie.
But you remember every character, no matter how big or small the part is. Like Brandt, the assistant of the Big Lebowski, he has a minor part, but just the way that they created him and the way he conducts himself, it's such a memorable part. Like my older brother is not really a movie guy, but when he quotes the Big Lebowski, he's quoting Brandt, who's like had like maybe 5 minutes of screen time.
I was like, oh, you didn't go to college.
Yeah. And then the guy's wife is like, "I'll suck your cock for $1,000." He's like, "Marvelous, marvelous."
Brandt can't watch.
Or he has to pay 100.
Let me just go find a money machine.
Man, let me find a cash machine. But even Sam Elliott's character, who was in it for like 30 seconds, like you remember him in that movie.
Or Maud's friend, the video artist.
Oh, with the pencil mustache.
Yeah,
who just laughed. He had no lines.
He's just.
He's like, "Who the fuck is this guy, man?"
But there you go. That the humor comes from the dude having to interact with this fucking weirdo who just keeps laughing at everything he does. He's like making a Caucasian. He's like staring it next to him, and he's looking at at this like EP, this like vinyl record. And the guy's just next to him going, "Oh, who the fuck is this guy, man?"
Who is he? But I'm glad you bring that up. That a lot of the humor comes from just this bum, this plain dude interacting with all these eccentric characters. Think about how many scenes are in this movie that the dude isn't in. He's in like every single scene because all of the good stuff comes from him interacting. We are the dude following him through this journey. When he's even standing next to that guy and he's like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Where?" Like, yeah, who the fuck is that? Why is he there? Like, the dude gets his car stolen. He walks out into the parking lot. He's like, "Where's my fucking car?" And we don't know. We're like, "Yeah, where is your fucking car?" It's like when he finds out every tidbit of information, so do we. And that's what I love about movies. Like, it's so rare to have that now because there are so many movies that are coming out where I'm like, I know what's happening. It's like, you should never really know something that the main character doesn't know. Because when they find out, I mean, for the most part, when they find out, you're like, yeah we knew that already.
There's instances where it's needed.
Yeah, like if it's like you're trying to find like trying to find your kidnapped friend and we know where it is, but the character doesn't, then you're like, find it. But
it's so rare that we have names for it. It's called dramatic irony.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be something done by accident.
Yeah.
Which is an issue with movies nowadays, is they just kind of stumble into shit.
Yeah.
And I think it's, again, back to the Coen Brothers, just insane eye for detail.
Yeah.
There's no part of a movie that should be happening by accident because it's entirely fabricated. There's nothing in a movie that is done unintentionally or by accident.
Yeah.
At least there shouldn't be.
If there is,
a lot of the time there is. But what I mean is that you're not watching, unlike real life, you're not watching something just happen. You're watching somebody intentionally making that thing happen.
Yeah.
So, you really shouldn't. You should be caring about it, and you should be really tuning into all those little things that make it better than just watching like real life unfold.
Yeah, and they have such a style to them. I mean, and again, one of my top things about them is watch any Coen Brothers movie. They waste zero time jumping into their plot so they can pack up their movie with as much like juicy shit as possible. The opening line in the movie Fargo is Steve Buscemi going, "Wait, you want your own wife kidnapped?" That's the opening line, and you're just like, oh shit, this guy wants his own wife kidnapped. The Big Lebowski.
Oh, pray tell.
Yeah. The Big Lebowski opens up with him buying half and half, and then he goes home and immediately gets his head slammed into a toilet bowl by these goons.
Where's the money, shithead?
Yeah. Fargo. I mean, No Country for Old Men opens up with the villain, the antagonist, getting arrested. And then he's in the police station, sneaks up behind a cop and chokes him out with handcuffs. Like, they jump right in. My favorite opening is Raising Arizona. It just opens up to a wall, and Nick Cage gets, like, shoved into the frame with, like, you know, he's getting his mugshot taken. He's like, ugh. And it's just, and he's like, my name's H.I. McDonough. And it's just like, okay, he just got thrown in jail. What the fuck? Like, you know, you're not seeing him lead up into committing a crime and doing whatever. It's like, yeah, this asshole just got thrown in jail. Let's start.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because they're quick with their exposition, basically, is what I like. They don't waste too much time with it.
Well, they just know how to apply it, correct?
Yeah, which not a lot of people do. You ever see a movie and it's just like a first act, just going like this? And it's like first act, ending, boop.
Yes.
Fucking painful.
Every Marvel movie.
Ew.
Now, you gotta fix something, Marvel. I
Eh?
mean, every fucking time I try to watch one of your movies. What are we doing here?
Garbage.
Garbage.
I
Can't see you.
I'm intentionally hiding from you.
Boy, he's hiding behind this thing.
What else we got? You know what I wanted to talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
this movie specifically, the use of not slurs, but like, you know, like
Chinaman.
kraut. Kraut was you tell that fucking kraut I don't roll on Shabbos. I think this movie is a great example about how you know, like colorful language like that can be used for good, because there's first of all a ton of great jokes that don't make anyone a victim.
Yeah.
Like never are they making fun of the people they're using slurs against, but I know a lot of people just think that like these words should never be said and they should never be uttered for any context ever, but there's a lot of really good examples about how these kind of words can be used
Not playfully, but
well in a way that makes fun of the words themselves.
Yeah.
Like Woo is the guy that pees on the dude's rug. So when he retells the story to Walter, he's like, this Chinaman peed on my rug. And Walter goes, yeah, dude, that is not the preferred nomenclature, right? Asian American, please. And then 5 seconds later he goes, it's not about the fucking Chinaman.
Yeah, like the joke, like that's the
nobody's
joke.
making fun of the Asian guy. The Walter is the joke.
Yeah, he's a psychopath.
Walter's a psycho and a hypocrite, and he can't stay consistent for more than 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's a great character trait where you have to pay attention. Is like Walter, the one of the supporting roles played by John Goodman. He's trying so hard to be this other guy, I guess, to possibly prove something to his ex-wife. Yeah, who we never meet, by the way, but like they've been divorced.
You meet her Pomeranian.
Yeah, they were married. They got married. I remember in the movie, it's like, you got married 6 years ago and you've been divorced for 5. So it's like,
my wife asked me to watch her Pomeranian while she go fucks her boyfriend in Cabo. I tell her to fuck off.
yeah. And you could just see that like he wants to be this better person to maybe prove that to her. But like within seconds, he jumps back into being this Vietnam vet lunatic.
You know what's funny about Walter too is he really brings out like a more vicious side of the dude. Like the dude is, which a testament to both their characters. The dude is he's so chill and laid back. And Walter brings out this side of him that is just like venomous.
Because he's that instigator.
Like that line I just quoted was the dude. Like you would never guess that from how we've described him. But he's like, well, if my wife asks me to watch her Pomeranian while she goes out to Cabo and fucks her boyfriend, I tell her to fuck off.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the only character that can bring that out of the dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, it makes you kind of wonder, like, is that the side of Walter's ex-wife that he brought out too.
Mm.
Was he bringing that out to her, and that's why they got divorced? Like, and it's all great character development without beating you over the head with it. It makes you think. You need to watch movies that make you think. You don't want to just sit there like this and fucking know everything. Like, I like to wonder and want to
Mhm.
know, and I like to. This is a movie where you're like, how is this shit gonna end? Like, those are the movies you gotta watch where you can't predict the ending. Like, I see movie trailers and I'm like, oh, so that's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this movie's kind of a special because what's funny about it is the dude predicts what's gonna happen like 10 minutes into the movie. Like
Yeah.
he lays out what really happened, and it's almost a way to like sneak around being predictable. Is he says what's gonna happen, but then constantly throughout the movie, other characters are making him question his own judgment.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, well, she obviously kidnapped herself." But then a character will be like, well, this happened. And he'll be like, oh, wait, so maybe she didn't kidnap herself?
Yeah.
And in the end, she kidnapped herself. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a really interesting way to kind of subvert expectations, to just blatantly say what's going to happen, but then plant seeds of doubt throughout both your characters and your viewers.
Well, the funniest shit was she didn't even kidnap herself.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like she kind of did, but kind of didn't.
Oh, yeah. But
he basically, what he says is pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
Like
and I like how these other characters are like, well, maybe not. And the dude is the type of guy who can't really form his own thoughts. Like, again, with the callbacks, a lot of his dialogue is like regurgitating other things that he hears.
Yeah.
So when he comes up with his own opinion and there's a small chance he could be wrong, he'll ride off someone else's thing. But then Walter will be like, yeah, but you said she probably kidnapped herself. He's like, yeah, but that was before, and then he's like, fuck it, and it's like, the dude is so easily influenced because he's like a pacifist and he's again, he's a tumbleweed. He just kind of,
he's blown by the wind easily
exactly.
in any direction.
So when he thinks something is this way and the wind pushes him over here until the wind pushes him over here, he just rides it out. And that's what we do in this movie. We're just along for the ride.
It's a really interesting thing that the plot of this movie is very meandering. It's very random, and there's no real push towards an end. It's just kind of event after event after event, and there's very little to connect any of them, but it's enough that you can understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute they're dropping off the money for the ransom, the next they're driving to a 15-year-old's house to get that money back, and it's like the money connects those two scenes, but those two scenes have absolutely nothing to do with each other. There's no connection other than the fact that dude got his car stolen with the money in the car. But yeah, this movie is it's a master class on callbacks, and the plot itself is so weirdly like braided. It's like so many different things are happening, but something will happen and it won't be contextual until 20 minutes later in a completely separate scene. And like Maud Lebowski, who's the Big Lebowski's daughter, sends the dude to a doctor because he got punched in the mouth, and she's really adamant on the doctor for no reason.
He's thorough.
And then
he's very thorough.
Just as the movie's going along, you don't even. She just shows up at his house, bangs him, and then she's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to have a baby," and he's like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
And it's like, this has nothing to do with the plot, but it's weaved in so well that like I didn't even really notice.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, that's why you wanted me to go to the doctor." She's like, "Yes."
Or the dream sequences too are another good example where it's a lot of random shit smushed together, but it's shit that's been happening throughout the movie. Like the movie takes place in the 90s when we were in Iraq with Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, I think so.
And Saddam Hussein appears in the dude's dream sequence because he's just like, it's like a mush of all the things that are going on. and it's like this big musical number because Maud's an artist,
Yeah.
and everyone's dressed up in bowling attire, and it's all in the context of a porno because Jackie Treehorn makes porn, and Bunny's she's the actress in the porn, and it's all these weird like all these jokes are smashing into each other
Yeah.
in such like
A unique way.
yeah, it's very unique to the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen any other movie attempt, especially a comedy movie. Like it was like a very
Yeah, and we just want to say also when this movie did come out in 98, it was horribly received. I don't even think it made back its budget.
probably not.
And because the year prior, Fargo came out and the Coen Brothers got the Oscar, I believe for best screenplay and maybe something else. So the next year they came out with the Big Lebowski, and I'm sure everyone was like, "Oh shit, like what's going down?" And then they saw the Big Lebowski, and they were like, "Oh." But over time, I mean, it became like everyone knows the dude. The dude abides.
Dude abides. You know, there's a whole religion based on the dude. Have you ever heard of this?
I'm down.
Yeah, it's
Actually, I have a picture of us dressed up as the dude and Walter on Halloween.
mine's over there somewhere.
Oh, is it?
We took it on disposable camera.
Yeah, Kodak. Picture that on a Kodak.
I had a airsoft gun that looked spookily real that I
Yeah.
used as a prop.
I was drinking White Russians all night.
And there was a shitload of people that we didn't know, so I just kept pulling out this prop handgun,
Yeah.
going, "I don't fucking roll on Shabbos."
Am I the only one who gives a shit about the rules?
And at some point, Serena was like, "You need to stop pulling that out because someone's gonna think it's real."
Yeah.
And they were like, "You need to stop screaming." I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm in character."
And then my brother Nick and his friend Brock showed up. Brock was pushing Nick in a CVS shopping cart, and he like rolled him into the garage. I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "We found a shopping cart by Tex-Mex." Like, awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's their shopping cart.
Yeah, that's their shopping cart.
You should give it back.
It says CVS on it. Fucking dunce.
Another, another thing I noticed, more so I was kind of paying attention this watch around, was there's a lot of background noise in this movie. Not like in a bad way, but like there's the scene after Walter pulls a gun out on Smokey in the bowling alley. The scene is just kind of them going to the car and talking about it. And in the background, a cop car pulls up, lights going, cops
Yeah.
running out. And nobody really, like, the two of them don't pay any attention to it. The camera doesn't pay any attention to it. Nobody's really supposed to pay any attention to it, but you can clearly see it's happening behind you.
Yeah.
And not in, there's something, I don't know how they pulled it off, but I know that, like, there have been less, impactful movies to me that have done that same thing. I don't know how they did it differently, is what I'm trying to say. It's like,
Yeah.
that's not like a complicated or unique thing, but like,
You know what they did? They trusted the viewer. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
it's like completely out of focus. You can barely tell what's going on.
Yeah, they were just kind of like, they'll notice if they fucking notice.
Mhm.
They like put their faith into the viewer. They're like, if they see it, they see it. And that's why you can watch this movie over and over, because it's jam packed with shit like that.
Mhm.
Where you're like, oh man, like, dude, I just watched it and there was something I didn't know. Like, it's every single time. It's just these little things are, comes together to make a great fucking movie. I mean, even when there's a quiet scene where the two cops go to the dude's house and he's like, yeah, my car was stolen. The whole time he's holding that phone that just keeps ringing because it's the Big Lebowski trying to call him about his wife. So what was just going to be a boring, quiet scene, the phone just keeps ringing and you're kind of like, dude, they've been calling you for hours. Answer the fucking phone. And he's like, my rug was stolen too. They're like, oh, your rug was in the car? He's like, no, that was here. They're like, oh, separate incidents. And then Maud calls him, Mr. Lebowski, it's Maud. I'm the one who stole your rug. Well, we can close the case on that one. It's fucking genius, man. I love it. I mean, to this day, it remains one of my favorite fucking movies.
It's like criminally good.
Yeah, and like and because my dad's a pretty big movie guy, and we always talk about comedies and stuff. Um, and I tell him like, yeah, The Big Lebowski is just one of my favorites, and he's like, yeah, I remember I saw that with you. He's like, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know. He goes, I don't know if I'd call it like the funniest though. I'm like, yeah, that's because you only saw it once. I'm like, it's one of those things where when you know the characters, it's that much more funny. Like the dude is in the bath and he's taking a bath listening to whale noises with like candles around him and he's smoking a J. And then he gets like a message on the phone. It's like, oh, this is the police department. We found your car. And he's like, oh, far out, man. And then he hears like banging and he like peers down the hallway. And these guys broke into his house and they just start smashing shit. And they take like
he's just smashing the shit out of his answering machine
and then,
mid message. So he's like,
what? And he's like, what? And then they like take a ferret and throw it in the bathtub and they like hold him down in the water. He's like, what the fuck?
Nice marmot, dude.
Nice marmot. And then Walter's like, if you're domesticating, and
he's like owning
a mammal like that, that's illegal
too.
An
aquatic
like,
mammal.
Yes. Why do you give a shit about the fucking marmot?
He's like, that's not legal, dude.
But yeah, this movie, I
loved that every time the dude was smoking a J, it was like the very tail end of it.
Yeah, he
like,
had it with the fucking thing.
The thing where it was like to a point where it was like, that has to be burning your fingers. Like
yeah,
he's always like,
he's holding it with like the tweezer things. I forget what they're called. And he's like, but it's like, how are your lips not on fire?
It's just, he gets every little centimeter out of his J's. It's just like,
and what I've noticed too is the dude is not a wealthy person.
Oh, really?
So what's funny is like whatever source of income he's getting, you can see through his apartment that he's spending money on shit that he likes, not shit that he needs. Like his bar counter is always stocked.
But he only drinks one thing.
Yeah.
So it's stocked with vodka and Kahlua.
Yeah, but
half and half.
It's stocked. He's got this big poster of like a famous bowler.
That was President Nixon. By the way,
was that Nixon?
Yeah,
I wasn't looking that hard.
Yeah, I notice it every time I watch it. It's a picture of President Nixon bowling.
So I mean, either way, why would you buy that? So it's like,
because he's obsessed with bowling.
Yeah, but his car is like shot to shit. His apartment's a mess, and then the landlord comes. He's like, "Hey, dude, it's already the 10th. Just slip the rent under my door." He's like, "Oh yeah, far out." It's like, dude, pay your rent. Stop buying posters of Nixon going bowling. Stop buying Kahlua. But yeah, it's funny to see how he's like, this is my one life. I'm living this how I want to live it. Fuck it.
Taking it easy for all us sinners.
Yeah.
The dude. I wouldn't call him a hero, but
yeah, sometimes there's a man. But yeah, I did like that narration.
Take one of them good sarsaparillas. Sam Elliott was so weird in this movie.
Yeah.
He was like breaking the fourth wall, and he was just like staring into the camera like, the dude abides. I like that.
I like that. I love when he's like just looking at the dude. He goes, "I like your style, dude.
I like your style too."
And then
man.
He goes,
the whole cowboy thing.
He goes, "Dude, let me ask you a question. You gotta cuss so much." He goes, "The fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, that should be the tagline for our podcast.
Yeah.
Cuss so much. The fuck are you talking about?
Oh man, yeah, I would rate this movie solid, like, give it like a solid 8.5.
Oh, I give it a 10.
Yeah,
I could watch this movie 80 times in a row and not enjoy myself every single time.
I'm just trying to think of like, but you know
flaws.
What?
I
in my head though, I'm like, well, I just rated this an 8.5. What would be a 10?
I don't know. You tell me. I rated it a 10. I think it may also just be like tailor-made to our sense of humor. Like I could see how somebody wouldn't find it as funny as we do.
Yeah.
It's a very slow, methodical kind of humor. It's a very...
And it's not like in your face. Like you got a movie like Step Brothers. I love Step Brothers, but that humor is very like in your face. He's like, I'm gonna put my ball sack on a drum set, and it's fucking hilarious. And they beat the shit out of each other, get attacked by a German Shepherd, and club each other with baseball bats. It's like, yeah, that's psycho funny, but the humor in this, it was so like, it wasn't, again, just
That's the other
here's
thing.
a joke. It was very like,
Yeah, it was that. That's the
by
humor.
way
The
of the
humor.
movie.
The humor derives from the characters themselves. It's not so much. It's even like I even hesitate to even call it a comedy most of the time.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't really fit too well into the comedy genre, in my opinion.
If you think a comedy, you think slipping on the banana peel.
Yeah, I think of jokes, but this movie,
Yeah.
it doesn't really do jokes. It's just it is a plot, it is a story, and it is
It's all
funny while it's happening.
It's all of his inconveniences
Yeah,
that are just becoming more. I mean, like in one of the opening scenes, he's like, "My car's gone. Where'd my car go?" And then at the end, he walks out of the bowling alley and his car is on fire. Not like smoking, like it is in flames. It is engulfed in flames.
the German guys are standing in front. We want the money, Lebowski.
It's like without ransom, there. Yeah, what did Walter say? He's like, "There's no."
Oh, they're like, we're going to kill the girl. He's like, you never had the fucking girl.
Yeah, he goes, without a hostage, there is no ransom. Well, we still want the fucking money. Steve Buscemi's like, I got $30.
Like, Walter, we're going to get out of this cheap. I got $4. I've got 18. I've got 18.
I got 18.
What's mine is mine. Fucking launches the bowling ball into the one guy's nuts.
And then like
bites the other one's ear off.
Bites his ear off and fucking knocks
Come on,
him the
I'll
fuck
fuck you. I'll fuck you. I'll fuck you.
I'll fuck you.
Bam.
Yeah, this movie. I mean, I'm pretty sure that. I mean, if we do have a good. I mean, whoever does follow us, like I do notice, the same accounts liking our shit. Thank you. I mean, they got to be into movies, so I'm sure they've seen it. But if you haven't, watch this fucking movie.
Everyone should watch this movie.
Even if you don't think it's the funniest movie, it will 100% hold your interest and leave you wondering what the fuck is going to happen.
It's the antithesis to my main issue with comedy movies, where it's a lot of comedy forgets it's a story.
Yeah.
It's a movie first and a comedy second.
How can we make this movie so funny and keep people laughing?
People like fart jokes, right? Fart jokes.
Dude, you know what jokes I fucking hate?
Lay it on me.
Dick jokes.
Do you know how many dick jokes we make?
Yeah, but like I'm talking where like the punchline in a movie is either
Have
like,
you seen our podcast?
I know we did the Forrest Gump bit last week, but that's because we were making fun of Forrest Gump. But I mean like in a movie, like I've seen movies. There was this movie I watched with Serena, and one of like the main jokes was like the guy had a big dick. But I'm like, that's cool. Good for him. But it's not funny.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept trying to just beat you over the head with his dick. No, with these jokes. And it's like, it's
The
not
hammer.
funny though. Or it's the opposite where it's like, his dick is so small. It's like, that's not funny. Like, okay, cool. But
I
like,
think if it was that prominent to remain in your memory, then it might have been the frequency of the dick jokes that might have got. I hate when a movie relies on one joke for too long.
yeah.
Like I've seen, there's movies I like where there've been dick jokes, and it's like not the most offensive thing, but they happen like once or twice. Like you said, for some reason, The Longest Yard immediately popped into my head with Adam Sandler, where one of the characters they like recruit him in the shower, and they're all just staring at his dick.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, well, if anything, you can hit him over the head with that fucking thing. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like if a joke about it, like, sure. But when the joke is just that, it's like, ha. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just like this movie I saw, it was like this girl was going to like hook up with this guy. And then she's like trying to unbuckle his pants, and it's like dark. They're in the bathroom. She goes, move your arm. And he goes, that ain't my arm. And then we're like, cool. And then like she goes out to all of her friends. She's like, oh my God. She's like, and then I said, move your arm. And he was like, that ain't my arm, girl. And they were like, oh, shit. And I'm like,
Sounds like you just hate women. You fucking chauvinist pig.
Yo, where's that fruit salad guy from Canada?
Yo, come here and let me wife you up, boo.
Yo, put those apples back on them titties, boy.
I haven't felt a rush that high since that night, baby.
I haven't felt a rush that high since I got that rush man.
I've never tasted a sweeter apple than the one that came off your man boob.
Why are we Matthew McConaughey?
All right.
All right, man. I mean, I was just here, and I saw you had man, you had those apples on your chest, and I was like,
my favorite thing. My favorite thing about these college boys, I stay the same age. No, they stay the same age. I keep getting older. Fuck that up, goddamn.
It goes.
That's what I love about these preschool kids, man. I get older, they stay the same age.
Preschool?
I mean, high school. That's what I love.
High school.
Cut. The line goes like this. That's what I love about these high school girls. I get older and they stay the same age. We don't need Chris Hansen over here. It was an honest mistake.
Why don't you have a seat?
Why don't you have a sheet? Sit
Yeah,
down.
a sheet.
Dude, the best Chris Hansen catch was this pedophile goes into this kid's house and it's like, Chris Hansen's like, we have the decoy set up in the kitchen. Here comes John Doe looking to get his freak on. And then he like goes into the kitchen.
Looking to get his dick wet.
Yeah. So John Doe goes into the kitchen and he's like, hi. And she goes, and like the decoy, she's like, I made you cookies, and like puts them on the table. And then Chris Hansen just comes out of a closet and goes, you won't be needing any milk with those cookies where you're going. It's just like, the guy's like, ah, fuck. He goes, dude, the best is when a guy gets caught and Chris Hansen comes out and the guy just goes, oh, fuck. He's like, what? He goes, I know you. I've seen the show. Fuck. He goes, so you've seen the show and you continue to do this. He goes, I just didn't think I'd be on the fucking show.
I didn't think it'd be you, Chris.
I didn't think it'd be you. Don't do me like that.
I love the one where the guy comes in. He's like, all right, you ready to go to the beach? She's like, yeah, I just have to. He's like, come on, let's go to the beach, quick. And Chris Hansen comes out and he's like, nah, I'm just going to the beach, man. And he just like runs out the front door. He's like, I just want to go to the beach.
He like trips on the steps and then the cops in ghillie suits come out like, oh, yo.
He's like, I just want to go to the beach.
I just want to go to the beach. He's like, this is Ryan. He's coming here to meet up with an underage girl.
I just want to go to the beach.
And then this guy comes out and she goes, the decoy's like, did you bring condoms? He goes, yeah. And Chris Hansen comes out and goes, you won't need any of those where you're going.
Why do all the why do all your Chris Hansen pedophiles sound like Ken Kniff? Hey there, little cock boy.
Hey there, how you doing?
Ken Kniff from Connecticut.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But no, they're like, he's
You
like,
want something that'll melt your mouth and not your hand?
and then he goes, Ryan, what's your last name? He goes, I don't have a last name. He's like, really? He looked like
It's
Gary
Kniff.
Busey.
It's Kniff.
Kniff.
Oh, fuck.
From Connecticut.
From Connecticut.
Collect call from Ken Kniff.
You sound like you're doing your Dave Bautista voice.
I'm an actor. Hey, I'm an actor. I'm not really acting.
Were you in Knock at the Cabin also? I was in that movie. I play the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hey, I'm not really that guy. I'm Dave Bautista. I've got brainworms.
Yeah, we just want to let you know how much we hate Dave Bautista and how much we fucking loathe M. Night Shyamalan. Tune in to our third episode.
Yeah, you got to go to Spotify for that one.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
I loved that episode so much, and it was one of our worst performing episodes.
Yeah, you guys should
Heartbreaking.
really watch it. But we weren't recording our episodes visually at the time. So you just got to put on some AirPods and chill out.
If this get this video to 50 likes, and I'll upload them to YouTube because I'm such a nice guy.
If we get 100 likes on this video,
Charlie will show his dick.
God,
Pressure's on.
I'm on probation.
Bro,
Oh,
for showing
shit.
my dick.
now I was gonna say I'd do something crazy, but what could I do?
He's gonna give everyone $20.
Like that fucking guy. I know I owe you $20, man. Sorry. Yeah, I got shit-faced and I promised our 100th follower on TikTok that I'd give him $20. I have yet to do it.
I love the guy didn't even like say no. He was like, "Oh, word, what's your Venmo?"
Yeah, and I just didn't answer him. I got you though, bro.
Do you?
Fuck.
I don't know. I got to check the old bank account.
That's all up to him, man. I made no such promise.
Fuck it. All right. Well, anywho,
There's so much more to talk about this movie, but we implore you to go watch it yourself.
yeah.
That was our classic movie of the month, week, day, minute, hour, whatever we're going to do.
Semi-annual, bi-weekly.
Yeah, whatever we do. Trying to educate the youth.
Yeah. So be sure to fucking like and subscribe. We are our TikTok is at the Degenerates 1000. Our Instagram is the Degenerates 1000. YouTube is the Degenerates. Believe it's 7993. But yeah, and follow us on Degenerate Movie Reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and yeah. You got anything else to say, bud?
The dude abides.
Dude abides. I'm Charlie.
I'm the dude.
And we'll see you next week.
Ah.